long as you say yes, that'll be fine. Yes.
Yep, you're on. Okay, now we're starting a little bit late today, but it's 10 after 7, and we'll bring this committee meeting of facilities to order. First would be the approval of the March 28th meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, they pass. All right, so we're going to move on to our Giza, you know what? I know we have special people in the audience today. And if you would like, I will be happy to make you go first.
I think they should go last.
Well, I hate to make you wait to go last because you're last. You're almost last.
So
First, I'd like to agree that her parents really absolutely are special needs.
Okay. I meant that in a good way. I did mean that in a good way.
So Melanie, I thought I would open that particular agenda item, then
Okay.
turn it over, and then bring it back to me, if that's okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That works for me.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, as everyone knows, we have new playgrounds in the district, right? We installed the playground at the 4th and 5th grade center as part of the 2019 renovations, moving 4th and 5th grade into that building. We never had a playground there before. So at that age, we needed a playground, so we installed it as part of that summer renovation. Also recently, we've done the Marlborough Playground. That playground was circa 1991, so it was 30 plus years old, and went through the process of selecting the equipment. Principal Stevens had students actually participate in the process of selecting which equipment they wanted, and we learned a lot through that particular project. You know, there was a significant amount of demo that had to occur at that site because of the paperwork was, or not, geez, I'm looking for paperwork. The playground was being removed in its entirety.
Right.
And then we got an education on the proper way to prepare the drainage and the safety surfacing. So we learned a lot through that process. In working with Mr. Freeze and the Hereford PTS folks that are here in attendance today, we've collectively come up with an idea of replicating those improvements and those kind of lessons learned to Hereford.
Okay.
You know, I think at Hereford there's a couple different opportunities is the way I look at it. Particularly I spent a couple hours on the playground last week.
You said that was fun. You came back all sweaty.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, you
Yeah,
just walked into that one.
tan earlier in the season than I usually do. But I think there's an opportunity there to improve the supervision. So if you're familiar with the Hereford Playground, it's right behind the macadam, which is basically directly behind the school.
Right.
And then, I don't know, 50 or 75 yards away are two swing sets that are actually closer to the bus loop than they are the
Yep.
playground. So it presents some challenges for the recess aides, the playground aides, to supervise those two different groups of students.
Of which we're always short of, too.
Of course, yes, we're short. There's also opportunities there to I guess, cycle out equipment that we believe is reaching end of life. There is one particular piece of equipment there based on my review, and mind you, I'm not a certified playground inspector yet.
You're getting there.
But there's a large piece of equipment there with a couple different slides that I think within a year or two or three is going to need to be addressed. It's starting. None of the pieces there look like any of the ones that did it at Marlborough. My review, I didn't see anything that needed to be immediately closed or see any structural issues with any of the equipment. But we need to put a plan in place to start to cycle them out as they come due, rather than kind of the fire drill when we're stringing caution tape around it and we have to do something immediately.
Yes.
And then there's opportunities, I think, there also to improve the site. Improve the drainage and the safety surface and the components of the site, because as we dug down through the mulch that is there, you basically hit decayed mulch. So as we continue to put mulch on top of mulch on top of mulch without the proper drainage and we put the matting and the rocks for drainage at Marlborough, you have this decay that just continues to happen. And the depth of your safety surface decays, basically, as, over the months and years, and then you have to continually supplement. So there's opportunities there. There's opportunities for signage. I took down a note that we don't have any signage at the playground, so we definitely need to do
Where's
that.
Peg? Where's
Right. Peg would be applauding. So there, I'd like the committee to hear from these folks. They're very passionate about the playground and their efforts to raise money to help the district offset costs of equipment replacements on a cycle. And just, for me personally, I'm just looking for, I guess, permission to continue down this road with Mr. Freeze and PTFS and continue to explore those enhancements and bring those back.
Okay.
So, I don't want to steal your thunder, but, I will yield the floor to you guys.
Yep. Come on up, or you can stay right there.
Well, let me just take some heat off of that to start.
Okay.
I just, what I would like to say is, I started back in mid-January, and this was one of the first things that they identified as a PTFS that they wanted to look into in terms of investing PTFS-generated funding. So at no time did they come and say, hey, look what they've got over at Marlborough or at the 405. That wasn't the case at all. From the beginning, it was, what can we do as a PTFS to augment or to enhance this playground? And not just that, but like Mr. Campbell was saying, the safety aspect as well. That mulch that's underneath, that wears away, and that has eroded and has created that scenario is something that's really important, I think, to this group as well. So again, they're not here saying we want, exactly what everybody else has. We want what Hereford needs. That's what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just add too, typically we supplement the mulch in the summer.
Right.
Based on my review last week, I'd like to accelerate that to the next couple weeks because we do need an enhancement, and why not do it now versus, waiting for the summer.
Right.
So I am planning to do that in the next 2 weeks.
Good. Good,
So
that's a start.
That's on the schedule for sure.
Okay, great. All right, who else would like to dive in?
I just had a question, though. So when you were doing your assessment, were there any other pieces that you deemed needed attention sooner rather than later?
The only other piece that I saw that kind of was showing his age, and I'm not sure what to call it, but it's that Christmas tree looking climbing apparatus. If you guys had video, it would be worth a good laugh, but I was up and down that thing, I was on the top, I was all over the place.
We need to make this video.
Yes.
Yep.
And structurally, I believe it to be fine, but it's basically a cable system where the cable is encased in like a rope. And in some of the areas, particularly where the first step off the ground onto it, that rope is starting to wear away and expose the cables.
Okay.
I don't know if I can have that fixed. I don't know. I'm going to try to.
And is that piece of equipment age appropriate? So now it's only K3?
Well, that's a great question. I think, would I let a kindergartner climb up to the top of it? Absolutely, no.
Okay.
I would not.
Too short. They're too
I would
short.
not, no, it may be fine for, third grades, second grade. I was primarily out there looking to just make sure that the equipment was sound and
Okay.
there were no safety issues that, jumped out at me. We put a wrench on every bolt and every thing that we could out there. And
He's a good man. He really
tightened
is.
up what we could, and most of it was already tight.
He's
But
not kidding about the suntan, by the way. He came in right afterwards and he was burning. So.
Oh, yeah.
I had plenty of vitamin D for that
Yep.
day. But
Does the slide fast? Does the slide fast?
I greased it. That's part of the maintenance. A little
Sort of like
Crisco or
Christmas
something.
vacation with a little ham, yep.
Right, exactly. But that would probably be my second choice for a potential, replacement.
If I could add, just, the mindset had been over the years at Hereford that the BTFS did pay for all of the equipment as it was brought on. And I mean, we could go back and double check, but, Kathy Hill, who was the BTFS president at the time, is now secretary at Marlborough, one of the secretaries there. She led those charges, and that's exactly what was done. They purchased pieces at a time, right? So not all of those pieces were bought at the same time. Which, again, is a good thing. You're not talking about a replacement of everything up there. The other part of it is, it was a K-5 building when those pieces of equipment were purchased. So now we're talking about K-3. There's a significant difference when you're talking about purchasing equipment for a 10, 11-year-old or 12-year-old compared to a 5-year-old.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, at least I've been around now for the Marlborough and the 4-5 center, so
Right.
I feel like I have a feel for that now.
I just printed out a quick picture. This is the piece, I think, that is the closest to end of life.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you folks would agree, but it's the one with the 2 slides.
Okay. The rope fork, too.
Do you know the age on it?
I don't.
No? Okay.
There are some pieces there that look much newer than others. And some of them are basically just tubes and ladders, and there's not much that can go wrong.
Hardly wrong with
tubes and
it, right.
ladders. That has some rubber coating on the platforms and the stairs, and that's chipping away, and that's something we experienced at Marlborough as
Yeah,
well.
I remember
And it
that.
rusts everything out underneath.
Yeah. So,
I think that's one of our biggest
Go ahead.
concerns, is that we are K through 3 now, and there are a lot of pieces there that are not safe for our K through 3, where they would have been safe for our 4th and 5th graders. So that's a big piece. And we're also looking to include some more inclusive pieces of equipment as well for students that might have disabilities and might not be able to play on some of the playground equipment that's currently there. So to include some pieces that would be able to be used by multiple, students as well.
okay. So do you have, how far did you get in this, or, were you just thinking about it, or so what's the scoop on it?
So we've been, over the past, this whole year, we've really been focusing on any fundraising is, trying to save towards the playground pieces. And we've narrowed it down to, I'd say a pretty smaller list. And that's why I asked, if there were certain pieces that were closer to end of life than others, because we could just kind of say, okay, well, here's some other ones we're looking at to maybe swap in. But we do have it narrowed down, if it came down to the big piece was gone, we had, a potential replacement. But, I think we kind of were of the mindset too, I think you said, Jeff, even just kind of swapping out, if we can get another 2 or 3 years out of the bigger piece, but we swap out some of the smaller ones, we have some ideas for, it's a round, rocker, or some seesaws, some, there's a swing that 4 or 5 kids can fit on, a new age tire swing. So just some pieces like that to just kind of swap out the older metal, not as safe for the little ones. So we do have a short list.
Okay, all right.
But we really needed some more help with narrowing things down as to what needs to go. Are we taking out everything? Are we just taking out certain pieces? We were thinking about moving the swings actually closer.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's a supervision issue, yeah.
So really, it comes down to, what are we looking at spending, what are we looking at getting rid of, all of those pieces.
Remember, up until about 2 weeks ago, they were of the mindset that, this is DTFS money that's going to fund this period. That's it. Because that's the mindset that we've had for years. We've had Hereford.
Yep.
Now, obviously, the pandemic has made it hard, so we started kind of at zero this year.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're raising money, but, we've nowhere near rates that we had before, so we don't have a lot to give.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe then it's more like a plan. I mean, I would agree, I would assume that you guys would agree that it's time to,
Yeah.
that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think going the piece by piece approach though, like, is that gonna hinder you in fixing the drainage and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
was gonna ask
that?
that question too.
Potentially. That's why I
Or is
want
that
to
drive like
get
what
some
you
of those kind of
do first?
installation folks out to the site and say, is it feasible to replace this piece? And while we're doing that, to really what I think needs to happen is probably an excavation to remove all of the decayed material there.
Okay.
Get it down low enough, put the fabric and get the stone drainage and then the right amount of safety. I don't know if we can do that
So
en
could,
masse or if that.
I was just gonna
it's
say,
a-
so could we do that technically, not really demolishing the whole thing? but
Possibly.
Keeping some of it and maybe just getting it out of the way and maybe that's the first step, is getting a new
Finish
preparation.
that,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
renovate it.
But typically, these manufacturers of the playground equipment, they sub the installation to
Right.
local installers. Like for Marlborough, it was a company, the manufacturer was Play World out of wherever.
Right.
And they were using somebody out of Phoenixville to do the install. So I'd like to get those kind of folks to lay eyes on the site and-
Sure,
and give us
sure.
some
Oh,
recommendations.
no, I agree, yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
Because they do this every day.
Yep.
That's their,
That's what they do.
Well, that's kind of what I would
That's what
suggest
they
that you do anyhow. I heard mention that, they want to replace some swings, you want to move the swing sets closer, that might be an easy one if the swings that you want to get are going to be partially replacing those swing sets that you're moving forward. So go ahead and, I would make the recommendation that you have somebody come out
Yep, I'm okay with that.
and give us
And that's a
an idea
good
what it
start.
would cost and
Yeah.
how long it would take.
yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
and what kind of, maybe then we can figure out if we can, if we can do
Go
it.
phased.
Yeah, phase it, that way we can all afford it.
Yeah, my only hesitation, just from my lens as a facilities guy, is the more times we bring a contractor to the site, that's a more expensive model than just
Sure.
doing 4 pieces
Well, that's true
all
too.
at the same time,
That's
because you have
true.
the mobilization and demobilization and all
That's
of
true, I
that.
didn't
So
think of that.
we're gonna have to weigh, that.
Okay, but at least I guess we could get a first step of getting somebody out to take a look and see
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
what might be a
Absolutely.
possibility.
Yeah, we can show them the list that's been created of the equipment already,
Okay,
and maybe spatially see how that would work with the improvements to the site, moving the swings, and see where that comes in. What, they may have ideas that we haven't thought of.
exactly. All right, are you good with that for a start? And we'll just keep working on it? Okay,
I
good.
want to thank you for your time.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you for all the work you do.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for
and
coming.
and I feel very rude now. This is Nicole March. Our
Hi.
daughter's graduating, leaving us.
Aw.
Yeah, in the year, Tara Leska, kindergartner,
Okay.
moving up. And Stacy Smith, who works over in Boyertown,
Yes.
but we don't hold that against her.
Okay, fine. Somebody has to, right? Well, thank you. I mean, that's good. We don't know when there's an issue until somebody tells us sometimes, because I know, I work 10 hours a day, so I don't always get to travel around and just take a look. And Doug, thank you for going and checking it all out and
That's
seeing what you
we
see.
do, and like I
And get
said, I think
some-
we can do something in the very near term to make it, safer than it currently is, and then that'll
Okay.
give us a little bit of time to catch our breath and
Yep.
figure out what we want to do, so.
Yep, I know. Go ahead, George.
Melanie, I'd just like to comment that Jeff Reese is principal at Hereford. I'm very glad to see that you got him back.
Yep, me
I was
too.
disappointed when he left. I was happy when he first took the position here.
Yep.
I worked with him when I was up at Muhlenberg College, and he was an excellent principal in the Allentown School District. And so good to see you again, Jeff.
Yep, he's a good
I
guy.
pay him to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was great. Yeah, that was great. No, we're happy to have him too. Yeah. All right, well, you don't have to stay. You can. You're welcome to stay. We love an audience.
Is
Fascinating.
there anything else we need to do to move this forward, or is this good?
No, I think Doug will start with
Well, the
finding
longer
out.
you stay, the more precedence it puts on Doug getting there, so.
Yeah, there you go. You just glower at him a little bit. Yeah. That'll be good. All right, no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming today.
The
Good
other
stuff.
item just to note quickly is that the feasibility study, we have been looking at playgrounds as part of that as well.
Good. Okay, good. Well, the other two should be in good shape, so.
I would hope.
Yeah, they better be. They better be. That was expensive. Yeah.
My
Good.
kids love them, so.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you. Thank you. We'll get working on seeing what we can come
Yeah,
up
we'll
with
see
for
if we can get
that.
some folks out to give
Okay.
us some opinions. Yeah.
All right, let me just write myself a note here. Okay, so we'll back up then to old business and work on the Energy Giza project, and how are we doing with that?
We're doing well. There was work that was completed over spring break, most of which was at Marlborough. They put the additional ridge cap on the full length of the second floor, and that was prior to that most recent heavy rain that we had. And a survey after that heavy rain resulted in only one small leak that we identified in one classroom. It was about the size of my fist, maybe. And I'm not 100% sure that it was the ridge cap, because it's where the ridge cap meets the end wall. So we have to do some more investigation there. Full
But
transparency, Noresco sent me the substantial completion documents to sign today.
Okay,
I'm gonna hold off until another rainstorm or two to see, because they're so, it's direction, it's wind, it's
and it was
all
so
sorts of
windy the
things.
last time.
But this
all that.
last storm was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So you know, my fingers are crossed, but it looks like they may have gotten it this time,
Yay.
so, yeah.
Excellent.
They also installed a controller on the water pumps that pump the well water around the building. And not many people know this, but we actually supply the water to the county buildings in that park. There's not many of them left. They've
No.
demoed a number of them, but we supply the water to that county park and from our well. And there's one building that has 2 or 3, I believe, full-time staff in it at this point. They've
Yeah.
repopulated. So it's a nice addition to the pump package there. It's a controller that allows the pumps to come on, you know, nice and easy and ramp up. It monitors pressure, it shuts them down nice and easy when the demand subsides. They do run frequently during the day because, you know, sinks and toilets and such. So yeah, that work was completed. They've been doing controls work at the high school, and they've started at Marlborough as well. That was all started over spring break. Most of the planning that's going on right now is for the summer work.
Yes.
The boiler replacements, the heat pump replacements on the geothermal system in the 400 wing and the athletic wing of the high school. That's kind of the lion's share of the planning that's happening right now, so.
Okay,
And
Good.
we've moved all of the programming out of the high school for this summer
good.
because we're not gonna have any boilers. So that means we don't have any reheat, which means if I run the chillers, for example, we risk the overcooling spaces, and then you overcool spaces and bad things happen. I would
Yeah,
leave
the
it at that.
M-word things,
Yeah,
we don't
I'll leave it
want
at
them.
that,
Yeah.
so, we're probably not gonna be running the chiller in most of the area of the high school, so it's gonna be a warm
Warm,
high school this
Okay.
summer, but it'll basically be unoccupied, so.
Good.
That's the plan there. Other than that, that's probably all that's really going on there.
Good.
Yep.
Well, I know that they canceled the last, every 2 weeks, we have a Zoom meeting, and there wasn't one 2 weeks ago because there was just not enough going on to bother having a big meeting about it.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So we will,
it is a
good.
little bit of a lull right now.
Yes, exactly. But when summer comes,
It's gonna pick up.
it is going to be awesome. Great.
Big time.
All right, any questions? No,
No.
good to go. All right, move on to the old 11th Montgomery Sidewalk repair.
Yeah, so I think the last meeting, we were discussing this project, and the original quotes that had come in were over the bid threshold. And I had gone back to each of the contractors, and I asked them to consider a different repair method, rather than just replacing the sidewalks, in their entirety. A number of the slabs of the sidewalk were intact. They're just sunken along the curb line. So in the document that Red Hill Borough had supplied us, it doesn't say replace for those particular slabs, and I think there was maybe only
7 or
10
something.
slabs that needed to be replaced. The rest along that whole run could be what they call slab jacked, where they inject the high density grout or foam underneath, and it raises them up.
Yep.
So I asked all of the contractors to go back and look at that. 2 of them came back and said, we don't do that. The third did go back and look at it and was able to bring their quote just under the bid threshold.
Yes.
So it came in at like 20,700, something
Really
in that
close,
neighborhood.
yeah,
It was
great.
very close, yes.
Okay.
So we issued a purchase order to that company, and we've obtained the permits from Red Hill,
Okay.
and they, let's see, they have 20 days to finish the work.
Yeah, we have till what, May 15th?
May 15th is the deadline.
You think they'll get it done?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm calling them or emailing them every 2 or 3 days to remind them.
Squeaky
so-
wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Worst comes to worst, I think that you can apply for an extension, but I'm hoping not to have to do that.
Okay. Questions?
No, good to
Okay.
hear.
Yeah. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
no,
did
that's good.
Yes.
That would have been terrible if we had to go out to public bid for that.
Mhm. All right, let's move on to the old basin stabilization / get rid of the NPDES permit so we can do the softball fields.
Right. So I reported at the last meeting that we were out to bid on that project. So bids came in today. They were
Okay.
due by 2 o'clock today. We had 2 bidders, Gordon H. Favor from in town here, and Stonewood Land Shaping
Okay.
were the 2 companies that submitted bids. The low bid was submitted by Gordon H. Favor, and it came in at $91,000. The second bid was $150,000.
Okay.
I did have
That's
a
an easy answer.
conversation, yeah, certainly higher than, we thought.
Yeah.
So I did call into the engineer's office and ask them to, for their opinion on, how they felt about the number. And, they thought it was high as well, but they, between prevailing wage and now fuel prices
True.
and just the number of trips
It's a
back
lot
and
of
forth
stone.
that they're gonna have to make with the stone, they feel that accounted for a
Yeah,
significant
sure.
portion of the cost that maybe we didn't anticipate.
Yeah, sure
when we
didn't
were
do
gonna
us
try
any
to do
favors.
this without bidding.
Right.
There is an allowance in the bid for turf repair, basically sodding,
Okay.
because they're gonna have to come down the middle school parking lot and leave the parking lot by the maintenance shed there, the maintenance garage, and ride on the grass to get to the double gates at the basin to do their work.
Okay.
So the first step is draining the basin, which we're already doing. We've turned that system back on, so we're already doing that process as we normally would. And then they have to compact, once all the water, they have to compact the soil there.
And all the dead plants, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then they have to put down a geotextile fabric. And then they put down, I think it's 6 to 8 inches of this river stone. And the stone's big, they're 3 to 4 inch round looking stone. And, I'm not happy with that number. I was hoping it was gonna come in much lower than that. But I'm not sure, that we have a choice at this point.
No.
Um,
Well, I mean, it's at least $60,000 less than the other bid.
That's true.
That's
That is
ugly,
true.
but, I mean, that's an awful way to put it, but.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the difference, and you mentioned that the difference in cost might be how far they have to transport the stone. I mean, is the other company located a distance from here to where?
Keith, I didn't have a chance to look them up, but I can.
No, that's okay, don't worry about it, that's nothing we need for
Yeah.
tonight, but
Right.
it's just curious, and I'm hoping Baver has that accounted for in his bid,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Right,
He probably does. He's pretty shrewd about that stuff.
Yeah,
right. And as Melanie mentioned, this is kind of step one in a multi-step process. The second step after this project is done is to ask the Conservation District to terminate that NPDES
Yes.
permit. Once we can get that terminated, then, we can start the softball field drainage project.
Which we
Now, the
desperately.
engineer has already started the softball
Oh, okay,
field
good.
drainage project. In
Good.
fact, I think they're fairly close to done with the design
Good.
and the bid package. So they're just kind of putting that on the shelf, waiting for.
Us to get rid of the NPDES
Exactly.
permit.
now
Yeah.
what time frame are they looking for completion of this project once from?
So the project would due to start right after school out,
Mhm.
so, June 13th. And we don't expect it to take more than, probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then, we would go back to the Conservation District. There was a number of findings on the Conservation District report. This was the large one. That was also the drainage system along Montgomery Avenue.
Oh, right.
Our maintenance of
Cleaning it out.
those inlets, the grass hula hoop rule
Yep.
around the property. I'm not sure if I ever told you about that.
Not
Essentially,
really.
they call it the hula hoop rule. So anywhere they throw a hula hoop around the property, if there's not 70% grass coverage inside that hula hoop,
It
it fails.
fails. Yeah.
So if you have a big brown spot,
They better not look at my
I was gonna
backyard.
say,
so, that's certainly a concern.
Dandelions, yes. Yeah.
We had some hydroseeding done last fall, if you
Yes.
remember, to try to get out in front of this. We've got some plowing damage that we have to repair before the Conservation District comes back out. Those are probably the two major things. There was some trash in one of the basins in that walkway in between the middle school and the high school.
Yeah.
We've taken care of all of that. We need to do it again because it's been
Months.
8 months since we've done that again.
So once this
We have a
project-
Firethon club. We just saw it the last
Right,
meeting.
they could help us with that, yeah.
Perfect.
So once we get the project done and it goes to Conservation District, how responsive are they? Do we expect any holdup with them?
I think when the engineer asked them to come out, they had come out within a few weeks.
Okay.
The question is how confident we are that they're
we're
going
done.
to terminate the permit. Do we go out to bid for the softball field project before
Yeah.
Kind
we
of where I
get
was
the
moving to.
termination, or do we
Yeah.
wait? Really for softball, we would have to have that project complete by, the time the ground freezes.
Right,
So, if we're done by November,
right.
that in time for, the
So
next.
do you
the
have
next
hula
spring.
hoops to do calculations before you call them the Conservation District?
I'm sorry, say that.
Do you have hula hoops so you can do your calculations before?
So we can have a contest.
Right, yeah,
Who can
exactly.
find the most grass, but you're not allowed to walk on it while you're doing
calibrated
it.
hula hoops?
That's right.
Yeah, right,
How big of a
calibrated.
hula hoop?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
That's all good.
So do
yeah,
you,
my recommendation would be to move forward. I'm not happy about the number, but I don't know that we have another choice.
I don't
at
think
this
we do
point.
either. Would you like to put that on the workshop agenda this
So
week?
the idea was to put it on the workshop agenda
I
this
figured that's
Thursday.
coming. Yeah,
Any
I'd like a motion for that.
Motion to put it on.
Okay, any discussion?
We've had it.
Get it done?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, go for it. Put it on
Just
the
so you
agenda.
know, as of 3 seconds ago, there was no action items on the agenda.
Oh, no.
We tried
We
to
did it.
have no action
We did
items
it.
at the workshop.
Wait a minute, I just looked at that, didn't we have resignations or something we had to vote on?
Those, personnel,
But
in
no
the
action
action
items,
section.
yeah.
Okay.
But we'll do it for you.
Thank you, I
Yeah, sure.
appreciate that.
It was the draft night. so
It'll
we
be
probably
quick.
should have held it till-
Keith and I will be
yeah, I
quick,
forgot
don't
about
worry.
that.
It'll be
Yes.
fine.
We got it.
I know,
I've been
I've been stressing to my team, let's keep
In
keep
one
things
meeting.
off the workshop. Like, we know we have to vote sometimes.
Well, I was looking at it earlier this afternoon,
Yeah.
just to review everything, and everything on there is pretty much a first read for policy, so
Yeah.
there's nothing there.
Okay.
That's the only one that could hold us
Yeah.
up, and I was looking, there's no other presentations.
Right.
And I'm determined to beat your meeting from, just a few weeks
That
ago.
you weren't here
Yeah.
for, yeah.
You know, I'll have a conversation with
No,
the
no, no.
engineer. You know, if we're not starting the project until June 13th,
No, we're
maybe
kidding.
we're putting the cart before
No, we'll get it
the
done.
horse.
No,
Yeah.
put it on there.
Get it done.
Yeah,
Get
put
it
it
done.
on there.
Yeah, we like carts before.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah. We don't like horses, so we'll just take the horse.
The Eagles pick at 15.
Yeah.
So we should have time.
Oh, there you
Unless they
go.
trade up
15
though. We
minutes.
gotta
Oh,
watch if
that's
they
why.
trade up though.
That's
You know,
true.
we
If they
have to-
trade up, we might
That's
have
why
to
then-
suspend the meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Special news report.
Potty break.
Yep. Okay, so, yeah, go ahead and put on the agenda and we'll get that done.
Okay.
All right, next, we'll
That-
talk.
Just, that
Okay.
is for the allowance that's in there is for sod and not seed.
Sod, right?
Sod,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, sod.
Good.
Trying to beat that hula hoop rule is.
Yeah,
as quickly as
Yeah,
possible.
quickly as
That's
possible,
right.
right? All right, Walt Graber Lane easement and maintenance agreement, how's that going?
So,
Can we take it?
you can take it.
Yep, yeah,
Yeah.
it's, we had our Zoom and we went back and listened to have the arrangement. There was a couple suggestions from the neighborhood folks in terms of just kind of the semantics on who would order it, when it would get ordered, and how it would get paid. And a couple other suggestions. Doug and I went on a field trip, not as fun as your one to Hereford, but we
Right.
drove around on
We run the gator.
they were on the Gators, just going down looking at the signs. We had, we learned some things from the families of other signs that were put out before and who put them out and that type of thing.
Okay.
So, I'm waiting on Kyle to get back the final draft, and we'll get it over to them for them for consideration. I mean, we got a lot of other suggestions that have nothing to do with really the stone.
Surprise.
And we listened, and that was good, it was good feedback. Probably won't be included in the agreement, because that's not what that was about.
Right.
But we think we're pretty close to having that as, whether they're gonna move forward with it, but at a point where we're ready to present it, and then most likely we would have them, invite them here to have the form signed, as well as notarized here
Yep.
with us. And then, we'll see what kind of turnaround we get, if it happened as quickly as the May 12th meeting. If not, we'll push it to June.
Okay.
But we're
Hot on the trail.
yep, we're just waiting here, we made a final tweak to it after our visit, after our site visit. We're just waiting to get it back, and then I will send it. I have 3 of the 5 email addresses, and they're gonna share it from there, and see if there's any other questions.
Good,
So,
good, that's
yeah,
good.
Progress.
Yes,
Yes.
everything is
Good,
progress.
good neighbors, that's what we,
Yes. Yep, you always need to be a good
Yep,
neighbor.
yep.
All right, questions?
No.
Yep. All right, well, go on to the facilities feasibility studies, because I get done stuttering.
The feasibility study is ready to be issued. It was going to be issued a few weeks ago, but then in reviewing it one last time and thinking about it, and it kind of dovetails into item B under new business, I started thinking about roofing as part of that feasibility study and whether or not that should be included. I looked back to the 2016 feasibility study that was done, and it did not address any roofing. So my thought was that we would get a much better product and a better read on our roofing systems and their sort of end of life and capital replacement plan if we have a roofing consultant perform that work and carve that out of the feasibility study. I don't think it was really meant to ever be in there to begin with. And if you remember, maybe 2 meetings ago, I talked about the admin roof at 4-5, and we talked about the roofing consultant and potentially having them look at, all of our roofs. I think Keith had made that comment. So that's the path that I would like to go. I think we'll get better results that way.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because, architects and engineers, while they certainly have roofing experience, I don't think they're gonna do a deep
Roofing's a
enough
whole
dive.
animal,
that-
whole
that-
different
Yeah,
animal,
that I would wanna see.
Okay.
So my thought is to issue the feasibility study without roofing. We've included
Everything.
everything else, playgrounds, kitchen equipment, the parcel, the wood property, and then having them, give us some ideas about how we can use that property that's now ours. But I just wanted to get, you're okay to issue it without roofing
Good with that?
specifically.
My only question is, if we pull that out, how soon then do we get that, is that gonna affect the timing
Right.
of getting a roofing study or something like
Yep.
that, is it?
So, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, I already have a proposal for B under new business. The next
Okay.
proposal that I was going to get was for a condition assessment, if you will, of roofs.
Okay, so we're sort
Obviously,
of combining the two
Not
at this
the,
point. so
not
it's a
including the
problem.
middle school.
Yeah, we better not need any in middle
No.
school.
So, probably, I could bring the next, the feasibility study in itself will probably take,
That's
I
gonna
would
take a
think,
while.
longer.
Right.
Then, I think we'll have the roofing assessments before the feasibility study comes in.
I would think so.
And then my thought was you would essentially merge the two to get your full capital plan.
Hmm,
Okay, all right.
Sounds
You
good.
good with that?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good with
Question now, just to reaffirm for myself, the feasibility study is going to look at the demographics projected for the area, what our projected enrollment will be,
Yes.
condition of our buildings with the
Yes.
exception of the roofs, and possible scenarios of how we can repair, replace, extend the life of things, whatever, and
And
review
also help us
the
get a
new.
5-10-year plan.
Yes.
Right. And then, lay that out for us. So we'll get specific items at each location ranked 5 to 1 or 1 to 5, depending, I forget how it's stated in the
And
document.
anything-
And then we'll
whichever
also
goes
get,
first.
I specifically put
No, they're all
in
done.
bold that, an output of this
Yes.
process should be a plan
Yes,
Yep,
year over year,
perfect.
including not only the hard costs, but I wanted to make sure they included all of the soft costs,
okay.
the engineering and architectural fees, permits, prevailing wage. I'm like, I want real numbers.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I don't want, 2 million and then the project's really 3 million
Yeah, right.
because of all those other costs that they didn't consider.
Do we need to authorize you to do this, or can you just go and do it?
We're already, it's
Yeah.
already ready to go,
It's-
just with
yeah,
the
yeah.
roof part taken out.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah,
So
there's
we
money,
already
there's
approved
money
it
in
at a
my
meeting.
budget for it.
Yeah, we already
Yeah,
approved it at a
we're
regular
we're
meeting.
6 years,
Just want to
6
make
years
sure.
removed from the last one.
Yes.
So, and
Yes.
with some of the housing, there was just an article in the Town and Country about the proposed townhouse development at 704 Montgomery Avenue.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so, it should be looking at that,
Uh-huh.
that's, that, well, yeah.
but that's, but we need those numbers, the enrollment and capacity numbers to
Yeah.
understand,
Okay,
10 years out, how we fit everyone in.
yep, yeah. That way we don't have $20 billion all in one year, because we have to.
Right.
We can try to not have to. That's much more intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, questions? Good?
Appreciate that.
get it done.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we already talked about the Hereford Playground,
Yes.
and so do you want to talk more about the proposal itself for the roof? or-
I do, so, just a little bit of history, the admin roof at 4.5 was actually mentioned as needing attention back in 2019.
Yep.
So when we were doing that, I think it was $2-point-something million renovation that summer, as we were moving the 4th and 5th graders in, it was kind of well, what about the roof?
Yeah,
And it was too late.
yes.
So we've been limping along, and it's time.
Yeah.
We're chasing leaks in that admin wing, in the hallway, in the conference room, in the nurse's suite. I've had a contractor out just to try to do some repair work to hold us over, but the roof is desperately in need of.
And that's the whole front section.
Right, so, right,
Yeah.
the whole, the administrator, where the secretaries are, Mr. Vigilante's office, all down guidance, nursing, the hallway.
All the way to the elevator, basically.
Yeah, basically, right.
Okay.
So I had reached out to a roofing consultant that I was familiar with from a prior life, and someone that's actually doing work with local districts currently, and asked them for the standard, investigation, design, bidding assistance, and construction administration for this project, as a owner's rep, basically. And then they would take the place of an engineer or an architect. They do the whole thing. So their proposal was $8,830. And then there is there was a separate line item for interim inspections at $914 for each interim inspection. They recommended 2 to 4, so if we picked 3, I just picked in the middle.
Okay.
The total cost for and these are soft costs, for this consultant would be $11,572. And the thought is to try to do this work potentially over a break and not see if we can get this done before next summer.
Okay.
If they can do it, over Thanksgiving or spring break or Christmas, we're gonna investigate that to see if we can get this done, because I'm not sure it's gonna make it. No,
Okay.
but it does need attention.
Okay.
That can probably wait till the first meeting in May.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we can
Okay.
put that on the-
Well, we already got one, just.
Yeah, might as well add them all anyway. They're gonna be like, no more facilities meetings, that's it. Okay, so that 8830 takes us from inspecting what we have.
Yep,
And
all the design work,
all to the
all the
bid
bidding
process.
work, preparing the bid package, hosting the pre-bid meeting, all of that. And then
And then checking it out.
evaluating the bids and all, and then once helping us, sign it, get the contractor under contract.
Okay.
And then they would do all the construction, administration,
Yep.
certified payrolls and pay apps and all of that work. And then my recommendation would be to have them come down, I think they're somewhere up in like the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, have them come down 3 times during construction for inspections. Because I think just a final inspection is not what we want. I think you need
Well,
some
let's let it
interim-
work for a long
yeah,
time and
some
make sure it's
interim
right.
inspections.
Yeah.
We don't want to end up with a Marlborough roof that leaks the minute we get it, so, for 30 years.
Right, and from their proposal, they're actually, they're proposing to have the contractors bid on a couple different types of roofing systems, and then we can just, like a 20-year roof, a 30-year roof, and then we can just see where the costs come in.
Okay.
Based on those different systems, and with their help.
What kind of roof is up there? Is it shingle? It's not a shingle roof, it's a flat roof, isn't it?
No, it's a tar and gravel
Oh, okay.
type roof. It's
Okay.
very, very difficult to find the leaks, because you have gravel all over the roof, so it's,
Right.
You have to shovel it, and while you're shoveling
Yeah.
it, you create more
Yeah.
issues.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well-
and just backing up to the roofing surveys, they talked to me about the infrared surveys, and apparently they can do them with drones now,
Oh, cool.
which I really want to see.
Yeah, I'd say.
Because typically what you do is you do it on a sunny day, you let the roof heat up by the sun all day, and then you come back at night with your infrared, and the areas that are wet actually will appear hotter
Oh,
than
cool.
the rest of the roof.
Amazing, isn't it?
Because the
Really?
water, retains the heat.
Yeah.
So when you
I would've thought this
point your
stuff-
thermal camera, the red areas are your wet insulation and,
Yeah.
wet roofing materials versus
I
the
think
other
you should
areas.
invite members of the committee.
Yeah, I think we need to all be there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Maybe we
Of
get you
course.
to, broadcast on a
Right,
large
of
screen.
course,
Yeah.
then I asked the
Of course.
question, I said, well, that's fine, but how do you mark the roof? Here's they'd have to do it after the fact, but the drone.
They take the drone and it's got a Sharpie. It just lowers itself.
Yeah, it's like a plotter.
Yeah,
And you just-
yep.
yeah.
That's cool.
Paintball gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you want to wait? I mean, if we already have one action item. It's up
The
to
agenda's
you.
already ruined, just go ahead.
We,
We'll just go for broke.
yeah, we can, we could, you know, the sooner they get started, I guess, the better.
What do you think?
Yeah,
I don't have an issue with it.
I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll take the fall again.
all right, no problem. Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that too. We need to get this
You
stuff
just gotta
fixed
get
out.
the motion to Giza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
all right. So do you want a motion from us?
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Motion to move forward with the 4-5 center consultation.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
let her rip.
I see, this could
Next
be
one, I
put
think I
one
would-
motion on the agenda on Thursday.
No, it's all right, we could do that. We could do that. Okay.
That's okay, I'll just make a motion to approve all.
There you go, and then we'll be done. All right, so the last thing is high school
Pretty close.
signage
Oh, nice.
/ St. Luke's sports medicine.
This is a visual, so I will,
You'll try to find the right plug. Hopefully.
so, Athletic Director Kurzweig was approached by St. Luke's. You know, there obviously are athletic trainers are supplied through St. Luke's. They want to, at their expense, give us essentially signage for fencing at Keeney Stadium, for some doorways, some banners in the trainer room and in the gymnasium that, you know, say Upper Perk and Indians and all of that. They also say St. Luke's Sports Medicine on the bottom.
Surprise, yeah, I'm surprised. Right. Let me register my surprise.
Yep, so things like that. That's an example of the banner that would be in the gym. That's what they're proposing for the athletic entrance.
It's like the see-through, where when you're inside, you see out.
You can't
Right.
see in.
Oh, yeah.
And you can if you get close.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
It's got like a real small.
Yeah,
one.
right,
Yeah.
right.
We would not, I think we would choose one or the other of the
No hatchets.
hatchet or the spear, but
Probably
probably
not.
not both.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was just a kind of a concept. You know, a banner similar to that for the training room. This would be on the outside door to the training room, so you would see this from the parking lot. So you go up the
Okay.
steps to those
Right
two
by the corner by the
doors.
football field, like
Right.
corner field, like right by the field.
I waited there many a times.
And then also something like that, that would ring the fencing in Keeney Stadium. So that would be, you know, 4 foot high around the whole kind of curved
Completely-
part of the
Complete
fencing.
circumference of it?
Not the complete
That's
circumference.
that's the, isn't it the fence that's right along the, it's the arch fence, right, like the, on the inside, not the outside?
Yes, I believe,
That
yes.
keeps it-
I
The one that
think
goes
that's
around the
case.
track,
Yeah,
like in
okay.
the
Yep.
inside of the track.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
So
On the inside of the track.
they've done this at most of the schools that they provide trainers for. So they've already done this work at Ole and Fleetwood and Brandywine, I believe, Brandywine Heights.
I saw it up in Bethlehem. I saw that one specifically.
You did?
At the lacrosse field.
Did you like it?
It was neat. And it's
they
just-
even,
it just, you know, cleans it up, it skirts it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you see their logo where it is, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this, but they also did Ole's golf cart, you know,
Oh,
the trainer
nice, yeah.
trainer cart.
They probably need a lot of sports medicine.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, right.
that's intense, yeah.
So, you know, personally, I think it would really help, you know, dress up the area.
Do we have any issues with policy? I asked in case.
There's
I
something
didn't
there,
know.
there's probably either gift to district and or
Right, there is a commercial advertising policy. I did speak with Dr. Farina about it, and she did not have any concerns in that regard.
Okay.
I'm trying to, I can show it to you after the meeting, but I do have some pictures of what it would look like in this stadium, just a different school.
Sorry.
And again, this would not, this, St. Luke's would bear the entire cost of this.
Right. What do you want?
Well, I was going to say, if we,
7-Eleven.
don't say it happening, if we lose St. Luke's as the trainers,
Yeah.
we then remove everything.
Commercial
Would
advertising.
they remove everything? Yeah.
They would. Yeah, the only thing probably more permanent would be the film on the window, on the doors, I think.
That
Or
really shouldn't be
both
that
of those
bad to
doors.
remove.
Everything else is kind of banners.
Yeah, there you go.
And the door one, I think, in particular, would help with, signifying that it's the athletic entrance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were looking at doing something there anyway, possibly on the building. I had talked to Reed Sign about it, but this is
Free.
Yeah, sure.
This is free.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm. Well, it also signifies our partnership with them too.
That's what it is.
I mean, not necessarily
You do-
that we're being cheap or anything,
No.
but, we are trying to build a relationship with the community. It's not, and our community is not just our parents, teachers, and students, it's everybody in the community, surrounding area.
That's true.
Mhm.
So, I have no problem with it. Yeah, as long as we don't have any conflicts with policies or rules, existing rules.
I read through
And
them and
you
it
just-
doesn't look like
yeah.
there is
And
either.
you just confirm with Dr.
Yeah.
Finis to the best of knowledge.
Yeah, there's 7-Eleven. And I even read the AR as well.
Doesn't need to be reviewed by legal or anything.
We could ask the question. We could ask Val in terms of that piece.
Well, we didn't do it when we needed Key Stadium.
Yeah, but that fell under our naming
Yeah,
policies.
There is a current banner in the gym, on the wall closest to the hallway. So if you're in the center of the gym looking towards the hallway,
Mhm.
under the, by the basket, there's a St. Luke's banner already.
Oh, okay.
So,
I wouldn't worry about it. If another one of our community vendors wanted to do something, would this prohibit them from putting up a banner? Say Spear Construction wanted to put up a banner, that'd probably fall under commercial advertising or something,
Mhm.
I don't know.
right, and we do have banners on like the outfield fence of the baseball field.
Mhm.
Those folks pay for that, pay
True.
us to hang their signs there.
That's true.
This, they're improving our space at their cost.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm okay with it.
I'm
All right, we just want to bring it here to make
Yep.
sure,
Yep.
that we're transparency, right? Make
Yep.
sure that everyone knows what's going on.
Yep.
That one thing you don't go, what the hell's that?
What is that? Where'd that come from? We said we could do that.
I don't think we need a vote. I don't know if it's a vote or,
Yeah,
Just an informational.
yeah, I don't even know if it's what
Yeah, it
your
was
motion
just-
would say,
it
but
could be part of my
we can ask.
facilities update. I mean, it's only Thursday, so,
Yeah, that's fine.
all right.
Is there any paperwork? I mean, I haven't seen, I know I was aware of the conversation, I don't know.
haven't seen
Yeah, I don't know if they have anything, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
All right,
Okay.
so check it out.
So yeah, we're good with that. And I'll mention it as part of my facilities update this week.
Okay, all right.
Anybody else? Any questions, anything else?
On this, no.
Okay. Any
Facility
other
naming.
new business? Oh, yeah,
Go back to old business
thank you.
Facility naming.
Yes.
request.
Okay, so, George, you're here, and I know
Yeah,
we've been off and on talking about the request that was made by Doc Farris to do something to honor Dr. Person.
yeah, I have, John Farris is out of town. He sent me an email. I will not be able to make the next facility meeting, but after discussing the Dr. Person situation, I believe we all agree that the dedication could be the wrestling area. As far as paying for any signage, I believe the school district should pay for it. The reason for this is that the contributions Dr. Persing made to our district benefited not only one student group, but teachers, students, and others, all other stakeholders in our district. Sincerely, John Farris.
Thank you.
I told John I would read this to you, and what it basically focuses is dedication to be on the wrestling area, at the gym where they wrestle. It's like a wrestling area, and possible timing would be like December when the wrestling season starts. I believe Pope John Paul comes over for a wrestling match in December. But I think this is something that the district should do in recognition of Dr. Persing's services. Superintendent, 19 years, I believe. He's lived in the valley over 50 years. He was responsible for making every one of our schools national blue ribbon schools. So I really think all he's done for the district, the least they could do would rename or name the wrestling area in his honor. He was a high school and college wrestler. He coached wrestling, refereed wrestling. He was the first District 11 official ever to referee in the state championship. And we think this would be a decent thing for the school district to do.
Okay, I'm glad you explained the wrestling connection because we hadn't heard any of that previous to this.
No, the big thing is the wrestling connection. As a matter of fact, we were the first team at Pac-10 to have wrestling lights. We're turning out all the other lights, the wrestling lights on. That was paid for by Dr. Persing himself. That wasn't a district investment. That was Dr. Persing paid for the wrestling lights. And he's always promoted wrestling, and I just think that it would be a good thing to recognize Dr. Persing for that and other things he's done in the district.
Okay, because when this first came to us, I remember them talking about, maybe like putting a plaque near the library or someplace or near the offices or something for him. But I didn't remember anything about, naming the wrestling area or something like that for him. So
Keith, and from the last time.
The wrestling, I think some of the libraries are already named. The very first naming was the high school library, Raymond Pearlstone, who was the school solicitor back in 1968, I think that was. And there's been a couple of dozen namings since then. But Dr. Persing has not been recognized, and
right.
I think in some small way he would appreciate it, and I think it would be good for everybody.
Well, we did do some after our last meeting. I believe Keith and Alan both went together on a fact-finding mission to see what was where and what kind of plaques we had and what kind of stuff we had.
Right, what we had done is we had gone to Marlborough Elementary, since he was instrumental in having that construction, and we had also gone to the old middle school, the new 4-5 center, because he was instrumental in that also. And what I'd found in those buildings, they really didn't have any dedication plaques. We found one in the 4-5 center dedicated to Anne, I forget her name.
Raymond.
I have a list of them. There are 20-some dedications in our district to administrators and teachers. It might be the nurse's office at the middle school. It could be the library.
Right, and where these were, they were unless you were actually looking for them, you weren't finding them, essentially. We walked around the two schools. I found one for Mrs. Raymond, who was the drama teacher.
Auditorium.
Right outside the auditorium, yes. And then there was another one for,
I have a list of all
right.
20.
Well, if you want to email me that list, that would be great. I'd appreciate that.
I have a list of all 21 of them.
Okay.
Maybe we can
But
find them.
out of those two schools, I only found 2 dedications
We missed
for
19.
people. Must have been in the other schools, but, and the one for Mr. Smith was in the library in Marlborough, up on the wall, like 12 feet up. So, unless you were stargazing, you weren't
The high
good.
school gym is recognized, Ralph Angle.
I didn't know that. I've been here for 40 years. I don't know any of them. I don't even know any of them. I mean, I know their namesakes, probably 5 generations lower, but.
Right.
I just want to try and clarify what the request was, and I think it's overdue that he be recognized in some manner.
All right, well, I think I'm going to speak for everyone saying I don't know about naming an entire room when we were talking about a plaque. Yeah, and I'm just saying.
Kind of caught us off guard.
Yeah.
That has caught us off guard because we're hearing plaque mentioned before, and that's what Dr. Farish had mentioned before, and now we're getting room, so, that did catch us off guard.
The plaque is connected to the room. If you do a room or something, they put a plaque in on the recognition. They're not two separate. They go hand in hand, the plaque in the area.
I know, I think the question was, that's not what we were expecting. We were expecting a plaque. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you agree with me, but if that's what I was thinking, a plaque, like that.
Something like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, with Dr. Thomas Persing, Superintendent X.
Because you did find, in fact, I had it from Marlborough Elementary, he's on because he was,
Right.
that's the main plaque for
Well,
Marlborough Elementary.
Yeah, he's on
This
both
meantime.
building dedication plaques for
Yes.
both Marlborough and the 4 or 5 Center when it was renovated in '88, and then Marlborough was in '90. So the only other plaques I found in those 2 buildings was the joint high school, Upper Perk Joint High School, which is on the 4 or 5 Center now, by the entrance to the gym, essentially.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
That's an old one.
yeah, that was
That's a really old one.
1957.
Yep, that's,
Dr. Bonnekamp, is the recommendation either from Dr. Ferris or from yourself to name the wrestling room, in essence, the Augs Gym, after Dr. Pershing?
Maybe we could just-
Or is it simply a recognition plaque that gets placed by the gym area, much like when we saw
Something
the
he was
speed
special.
general area?
Yes.
Yeah, I would just be dedicated to, Thomas Persing.
well, but that's.
A plaque dedicated to Dr. Pershing in recognition of his service to the district, and we are placing it in the Auks Gym.
Yeah, the wrestling gym.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily naming the gym, but
Dedicated.
hanging a plaque
Yeah,
dedicated to Dr. Pershing.
because that was his happy spot.
One of his
Yeah.
passions,
Yeah.
along with,
I mean, I'd be okay with that. I know Doc Farris still says we should pay for it, and we're not going
Well,
to.
it's what
I'm
you
pretty
want.
sure we're not going to.
And whatever, we appreciate, I personally appreciate, because Dr. Persing has put in a lot of years of services.
Yep, we get that part. Okay, we were just trying to, I don't know where to go with it, so if you guys have any directions.
It kind of goes back to the policy, because I just pulled it up here, and we have the AR for 701, which is the official form that kind of triggers the process of the
Okay.
naming of a facility, which is, probably should use the same form for the same conversation, depending upon what's trying to get accomplished, so.
Dr. Bonnekamper, if you could send me that list that you have,
Sure.
I will review that list, and I will also see how those that list of names got approved, and how they were approved, as to who paid, if they didn't pay, and things like that. So we will try and get this moving along.
Yeah, I know personally, when they named the baseball field after me, I knew nothing about it. Matter of fact, I go to the Blue Gold dinner, and my wife said, "Hurry up, you're late. What's going on? You're late." I said, "We've been married for X number of years, and you've always been late." But she knew what was going on, I didn't.
Yes. Yes. So,
All right, well, then I guess if that actually brings up to another question. So you were just saying that you thought it would be good to do it in December, do what? Like,
See, I think it could be recognized at a wrestling match. When the fans are there for wrestling, I don't think you want to bring Dr. Persing by himself and maybe the board members and recognize it. I thought it could be put in with a wrestling match, a home wrestling match where wrestling fans are there, and then they could go over and see the area, or at least acknowledge Dr. Persing's contributions to the district. And wrestling was very big with him. Like I said, he's a coach, he's an official, he was a wrestler.
okay. I just wanted to clarify, I wasn't sure. But I heard you say that, so I wanted to make sure I asked the question. All right, so under advisement, if you'll email him that list, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll take that in,
Thank you,
again.
thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate that. Okay, anyone have anything else?
No.
No.
No?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna do this. All right. That's gonna be a heck of a facility report this week. Be prepared. Sorry, I'll do it as quickly as possible.
Shorthand, no, yours
Shorthand,
tonight.
I was a court reporter. I can
Short
do
words.
that. Yep, I got it.
I got it.
We
I
met,
got you.
we talked, we
Yep,
adjourned.
It was great.